This is a film study to focus on Dre'Mont Jones' performance in the Ravens' 23-10 win over the New York Jets in Week 12, pushing the record above 500 for the first time in 2025. Jones had 1.5 sacks. He's a hybrid edge/defensive end type player. Gives the Ravens a ton of versatility from a pass rush standpoint, also extremely strong against the run. The thing that I think I like the most about his game so far, besides the versatility, is the functional play strength to be able to move in his desired direction at the quarterback through contact. I got 7 plays queued up here to just talk about how he played against the Jets. Got 2 sacks working against the right guard. This is going to be a run play where he's lined up at defensive tackle. I thought the Jets did this twice in the first half. Basically, Jones is an edge defender, and I suspect that once Taylor saw our mug look with Hamilton on as the dime linebacker and Jones on as a defensive tackle, if you will, we've gone light, then he checks to a run concept. Pretty much the whole offensive line is going to be moving to their right or left on the screen. Jones and Hamilton help really kind of stack this up, as well as Travis Jones holding his ground against the right guard right here. So we're able to stack this up. I thought it was a poor call, to be honest with you, by the Jets. But sometimes you're backed into a corner and you really don't have a lot of good options. Here you've got an example of the versatility of 2 guys, Hamilton and Dre'Mont Jones, being able to line up in unaccustomed locations and still make a play, along with working with Travis Jones to stack up the running back and basically force the Jets to punt on their second possession. I think you really get an idea of the play strength here. It's a 22 personnel group. It'll be lead zone at him. Kyle Hamilton will also be lined up to the outside of Dre'Mont Jones, and that's a factor in this play. Watch when he gets his anchor in the ground, basically his cleats in the ground. There's a total stop sign, very similar to Travis Jones on the previous play, holding his ground against the left tackle, forcing everything to either go downhill to the inside, where both inside linebackers are filling, Roquan Smith and Teddy Buchanan, or in this case, bounce outside to Kyle Hamilton. There's really no good option, if you ask me, when you have groups of players lined up next to each other like this. Kyle Hamilton, Dre'Mont Jones, and Travis Jones, in my opinion, is a great setup on rundowns, being aligned near to each other or on the same side, versus on pass plays. I really love the pairing of Dre'Mont Jones and Kyle Van Noy. Same play from the end zone angle. You can see the ball is in the middle of the field. Here is Dre'Mont Jones, Kyle Hamilton lined up to his outside. When I say a lead zone concept, I mean the fullback and tailback going in the same direction. We're not talking about split flow, where the fullback goes in one direction and the tailback goes in the other. Direct flow run concept, so easy for the inside linebackers to read, in my opinion. You don't really get a great idea here of who it is watching from the All-22 or on the broadcast, mind you. But I remember this play and thinking, okay, someone must have stacked things up here such that the tailback didn't want to follow his lead blocker. You also have, I think, once again, it's Travis Jones kind of squeezing through the offensive line. So everything's been funneled back to the outside. Hall really didn't have any option, had to bounce it outside to Kyle Hamilton, excuse me. Besides the alignment versatility, there's also versatility during the play. And that's something that I think shows up here, but also throughout watching the Dre'Mont Jones film so far in Baltimore and then earlier in the season in Tennessee. First of all, he's a downhill player. He likes to attack, and he's good at it. This is a 3rd and 8 on the third possession. He's going to get a deflection on the screen, and I think it just demonstrates his core strength, ability to function as an athlete despite contact on the play. Lined up next to Marlon Humphrey, Malachi Starks. They're all blitzing, including Roquan Smith, who actually gets the touch on the quarterback. He takes a shot from the right guard, but is still able to get his hand up in the air and get the deflection. It almost kind of looked like it hit off his helmet. Live speed, you can see it actually hits off of his left hand. So when I say it's more than just positional versatility, I'm talking about guys on our defense who can make a number of plays. Hamilton is at the top of that list. Marlon Humphrey as well. I don't know how far down on the list Dre'Mont Jones is, but passes deflected, sacks, stops against the run. To me, this was a great acquisition by the Ravens. There's 3 players actually in that spot shadow. That's how tightly aligned Starks, Humphrey, and Dre'Mont Jones actually are. It's a weird play from a Jet standpoint. It's a bunch alignment to the top side of our screen, the right-hand side for the offense. And the outside two guys are blocking as if it should be a perimeter screen, like out towards the top or the bottom of the numbers. But the inside receiver runs like a little angled hook, almost like a snag concept. So Tyrod Taylor's just getting rid of the football quickly. I'm assuming that he's throwing the ball to this guy here because none of the other players are looking for it. They both appear to be blocking. It didn't really matter in the context of the game because Dre'Mont Jones, athletic enough and strong enough to be able to elevate, get his hands in the air. He's an extremely disruptive defensive player. I will tell you right now, the limited amount of film that we've seen of him in Baltimore, I would advocate for finding a way to make sure that he stays here for 2026 because he's a really good football player, number one, who does a high-level job at pretty much everything they've asked him to do so far. This stunt is quickly becoming, I think, one of our most dangerous. So when Dre'Mont Jones is paired up or lined up next to Kyle Van Noy, it's a 3rd and 3 on the fifth possession. So the way that it works out, he's going to kind of stutter step, juke, if you will, and hesitate. Van Noy is so violent on these. He smacks these guards in the mouth such that, it really clears a path, number one. Also, I think it kind of sets a tone for the offensive line. You can see when the right guard identified it. He sees the stunt, loops out. Unfortunately for the Jets, the right tackle, isn't as quick to identify it. Dre'Mont Jones got great grip strength, obviously. I also like that during this stunt, he's trying to swat the right tackle's hand down. I don't think it's necessarily successful. Talking about right here, what he does with his hands in the middle of this stunt. Tries to swat the right tackle's hands down. It doesn't necessarily work here, but he's still able to finish the sack, along with help from a couple of other guys. All 22 angle of the same play. Like I said, it's a 3rd and 3. That's Van Noy and Dre'Mont Jones set up to the field. Green and Travis Jones set up to the boundary. I wonder if teams are going to start setting the running back up to this side to kind of anticipate this stunt and help out. But then, of course, that could clear up or free up, I should say, Mike Green and others from the opposite side of the field. We're in a dime look, and what that means is Kyle Hamilton is the dime linebacker with Roquan Smith as the Mike and 5 other DBs on the field. You get an idea of the stunt here from the all-22 angle in terms of the hesitation with Van Noy getting upfield quickly and Dre'Mont Jones kind of hesitating. That's what gives it away, or that's what allows the right guard to recognize it. Jones just has great functional strength, being able to play through contact. Like a fullback, I'm not sure of the analogy that I want to use here, but I would almost kind of describe it like a fullback who's really good with the ball in his hands, number one, but still maintains the ability to be a great blocker. So I don't know who those guys are. The only one that I can think of historically is like a Mike Allstott, and I'm not sure that comparison necessarily fits, but you get the idea. Someone who's good with the ball in his hands, still an excellent blocker, but can also go out and pass catches out in the flats. Sometimes on the broadcast angle, you don't necessarily get a clear view of who the player is that disrupts things unless they give you a replay that's from the end zone angle. This is another one of those plays where I thought, how did this happen? So he's going to stunt to the inside. The running back's flow is initially pretty much directly right at him. This is on the 6th possession. It's a 2nd and 6. So he's going to stunt to the inside. Kyle Hamilton kind of steps to the outside. And look at what it does for Roquan Smith. I mean, we love this as inside linebackers. This just clears everything up for you and makes your read super easy. Essentially, you can just match the path or the track of the running back. Now, the only thing that we would like sometimes is once we are able to pinch inside, try to reorient and bend back to the play such that you can help out if the running back does kind of change directions. Jenkins is flowing over the top along with Travis Jones. I think that duo, Jenkins and Jones, has been really good against the run. Even yesterday at times when the Jets were able to move the ball up and down the field, it wasn't in the run game. Same play from the all-22 angle. Again, that's Jones up here. We didn't really get this angle view from the broadcast, but I knew that it was someone lined up as an edge defender who kind of stunted to the inside. One thing I will say, as the game progressed, it seemed like we were less reactive to motion. Early in the game, these jet and fast motions, we were moving like 3 yards. And then we ended up out of position on some of these runs against the flow of that motion. I usually refer to this as jet dive. We don't move as much here, in my opinion. There's really no reason for us to move if we're Roquan that dramatically, I should say, that we did early in the game. I think this is appropriate, meaning it's one step for him. Basically, Roquan's right foot replaces his left foot. And so he's not moving nearly as far as we were earlier in the game, at least from what I recalled seeing live. Early in the game, I felt like we were moving way too much. The disruption of the scheme by Dre'Mont Jones is real. In addition to that, they are double-teaming Kyle Hamilton out here to the outside. So we do have two DBs who could potentially flow downhill and help, even if the running back was able to escape Roquan or find some kind of lane to the outside. I don't know if people would categorize this one as a win, but I think this is an important play or an important thing to put on film. So it's a bull rush on a 4th and 2, 6 possession. It's going to be an incomplete pass that actually hits Wiggins, I think, in the thigh or the leg. So he's faced up against the right guard who, from what I heard yesterday during the broadcast, had not given up a sack all season. Once again, we're in our dime look. So Hamilton is man on the running back. The will linebacker is off the field. And Marlon Humphrey is the dedicated nickel, at least in this case. I'm going to show this one multiple times because for me it's important to get this on film if you're Dre'Mont Jones, meaning if we're going to use him as an interior rusher a lot, especially once Tavius Robinson comes back, then he's got to show the ability to kind of push people back when they're trying to anchor down. And in this case, that's what it turns into. And he definitely gets the right guard supplanted back into Tyrod Taylor's face. Doesn't, result in a sack or a quarterback hit. I don't know if people want to categorize it as a win or not. I really don't care. I just know that it didn't allow Tyrod Taylor to follow through with his throw as much. How much it disrupted the accuracy of it, I'm not sure. It didn't look like the receiver was even prepared for the football. But same play from the end zone angle. We're using him a lot, paired up with Travis Jones as our two, quote, D tackles. And this kind of looks like mug if I took all this off the screen, but it's really not. Hamilton is assigned to the running back man as the dime linebacker, and then Gilman is man on the tight end into the boundary. Dre'Mont Jones can play anywhere on the defensive line. I feel like I like him better. This is going to sound paradoxical, as an edge defender to the right, but lining up as an interior rusher on the left, and I have no idea how to justify that at all. He's very active with his hands and hostile no matter what. In this case, he ran a move and adjusted during the play to try to get his hands back to the inside and drive the guard back into the quarterback. I love that one because he's getting it on film that's at least something as an interior offensive lineman, guard and or center, he's got the ability to do. Finally, this will be his second sack. I guess technically, you've got a half sack in here, but it's in the 4th quarter, and once again, he fights off the right guard. This time, there's no stunt involved at all. So I think this will be the one that applies, or people would apply to the right guard from a responsibility standpoint. So we've got multiple guys up here lined up on line of scrimmage. Another mug look. 3 of them are going to drop out. Green drops out. Buchanan and Roquan. Also, Gilman drops out. This ends up basically being a Tampa 2, so that's really cool. A lot to say about it. I'll let the play flow in terms of Dre'Mont Jones a few times. What I really like here, globally from a team standpoint, is that we're showing blitz from one side and then bringing a differential blitz from the same side. Normally, when you get these nickel blitzes, and that's Marlon blitzing off the edge here. Normally, when you get a nickel blitz from one side, oftentimes you were showing the overload from the opposite direction. So you were trying to get the offensive line to step in that direction, to be called to step in that direction, and then bring the nickel blitz from the other side. That's not what Baltimore's doing here. Baltimore's overloading the Jets' right-hand side initially, and then dropping out 2 of those guys. And the really cool component here is Van Noy working all the way across and almost kind of setting up as a QB spy. We won't need that one this week, obviously, if we play Flacco. Probably not even if we face Joe Burrow. But the point is, it's a slightly different way to, quote, trick the offensive line. It doesn't work other than the fact that Dre'Mont Jones fights through contact with this right guard And I think it's Taven Bryan, who's played well the last 2 or 3 weeks. I was not impressed with his first 2 games at all, and he's been playing exceptional the last 2 or perhaps even 3 weeks. I think Miami was the first game where, I saw him really make an impact. But Dre'Mont Jones being able to fight through that contact, I think it's important if we're going to put him there as an interior rusher, that he can deal with the physical strength of some of these, mauling interior offensive linemen. And here we've got evidence that he can. That basically the move was interrupted a little bit, if you will, and he still was able to fight through and get to the quarterback. So same play from the all-22 angle. This will be the last play that I show you. I love this look defensively, man. You've got 7 or 8 potential blitzers up here. I guess actually Gilman, we should include down there as well. And Hamilton's off the field, by the way. So we're still getting this look accomplished without Hamilton. Marlon is on as the nickel. Buchanan, I think that is going to drop as the Mike linebacker in a Tampa 2. Roquan's going to drop to the left hook area, and then Green is going to drop to the right hook area. Gilman and Wiggins are the flat players. We're talking about Gilman here and Wiggins there. So we've lined up all these guys on the line of scrimmage, still managed to bring the nickel. Of course, if we're playing a Tampa 2, that means we're only actually rushing 4. But Van Noy almost ends up being like the add-on. This kind of looks like that 3+1 spy that I've spent a lot more time talking about in 2025 than I would have anticipated. We'll let it flow through a couple of times so you can see Dre'Mont Jones just cutting the corner on the right guard. Once he gets his cleats in the ground, whether it's a run play or he's got an angle towards the quarterback, that's it. It's over. He's a very strong individual, great feet, if you ask me, and hips, and ability to play through contact. Taven Bryan, I think it's a credit for the half a sack there. This was a sloppy game overall, right? There's just no two ways about it, especially from a Ravens offensive standpoint. But Dre'Mont Jones is an exciting player at this point because of the usage and then his ability to function across all of those locations. That particular play right there, I think, was great execution, mugging a heavy blitz look, bringing pressure, but it's a safe pressure because we're playing a Tampa 2. It's kind of crazy how often those mug to Tampa 2 looks are actually happening now, but he's been a blessing for real. As an outside linebacker, edge defender against the run, rushing inside on pass downs. I love the pairing of him and Van Noy on pass downs, like I said, and I love to see him and Kyle Hamilton lined up next to each other on rundowns as well. I think teams are going to have to start really considering how to deal with Dre'Mont Jones and Van Noy as a duo. He had 1.5 sacks yesterday, 4 tackles overall, I think 1 TFL, a pass defense. Now, if you combine his stats from Tennessee and Baltimore, he's got 6 sacks on the year. He's a real physical force, and I think he plays with an attitude. The last 2 weeks, I feel like we've seen evidence of him. I don't want to say talking stuff necessarily, but he's got great contact balance and is a good tackler. But he also seems to enjoy the physical contact again. And it wasn't the cleanest game defensively all the way around. Tyrod Taylor gave us some issues at times. He got away from Simpson, Mike Green, Roquan, and Ojabo at various points. He didn't get away from Dre'Mont Jones, but some of those were in more compressed space in the pocket. I thought he acquitted himself well and really had an impact in yesterday's win. If you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section, number 1. Number 2, if you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at Dre'Mont Jones, who had 1.5 sacks yesterday, kind of really breaking out from a pass rush standpoint for the Ravens. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.